So, hi, thanks, Nathan, for joining me today on the Financial Planner Live podcast, albeit via Zoom, not face to face, due to
Yeah,
COVID-19 lockdown. I've already seen you wearing shorts and a shirt, so I'm not going to hide that one anymore.
I won't stand up.
You won't stand up. Yeah, get his knees out. Absolutely. Well, it's boiling hot, isn't it? You've been out in the garden today?
Not really, no.
Ah,
I've not had the chance, but I do need to get out there later, I
bit of
think.
sunshine. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely get some vitamin D.
yeah.
Great stuff. So, on the subject of COVID-19, obviously we're doing this via Zoom, video chat, and whatnot. And has it had a massive impact on you in your job of being a financial planner? Have you found it's impacted it in any way, or has it improved it?
Uh,
Or
It's strange actually because initially, getting clients used to technology, so older clients that are not used to this kind of technology, and talking them through it. So maybe at the start, it was a case of calling clients up, telling them what to do to follow certain links, and then getting them on board. But after doing that a couple of times, it's become quite normal now. I find that I'm probably speaking to my clients more than I ever have. It's just a case that normally you're in the car a lot of the time, traveling from meeting to meeting.
mm,
Whereas now I'm able to talk to a lot of clients in the same day and get things out the same day. So it's a little bit different. Obviously, it's still really good to have that face-to-face contact and that relationship. But in these times, being able to speak to people more often is really important, especially with market conditions, etc. So, yeah, it's been good. I've not really noticed a massive difference, albeit the first couple of weeks getting used to the technology.
fair play. So you're kind of embracing it, really. Then you're seeing the benefits of using the technology. Were you using it sort of pre-lockdown or not? Were you using video technology?
No, not at all.
No.
Not even. Some teams would internally, if there was teams in different offices and they
Mm.
would speak to each other. But it's now been pushed out to the whole company now. So we're having quizzes with each other to keep the morale going in the team, having webinars for our health and well-being as well, which is
Yep.
really important. So we're embracing it as a company for both internal and external, which is working really well.
And some people I've been speaking to, especially in the recruitment industry, are saying like, "Oh God, I feel like there's just too much going on. Like everybody wants to do a chat, or everybody wants to do a quiz or something like that. And I just want to get on with my job." Have they kind of balanced that quite well where you work? Have they sort of, some people feel like they're constantly being monitored by a video or something. It gets a bit silly.
So with us, it's pretty much that we'll speak to our clients and we can get involved in different things if needed. We are having regular catch-ups with our directors or our team directors. As a team, we will dial in, all speak to each other and see how our week's going. But that's not in any way trying to check what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's not like that at all. I've not found with us. It's just a touching point to keep in contact, to talk about what sort of things we're facing, what sort of things our clients are talking about, and for
Mm.
us to have the opportunity to voice that and use each other as a soundboard. So
You mentioned as
it
well,
worked
like
quite.
yeah, you mentioned as well you were spending a lot of time in your car previous to the lockdown, and
Yes.
you might phone somebody in your car on the way to a client visit on the way back or something like that. And I think that's a big thing that's going to change when we come out of lockdown and people start to look at how they work, because we spend a huge amount of, not only from an environmental perspective, trying to reduce the amount of traffic on the roads, but I think we spend a lot of time in cars unnecessarily. And I was talking to a few of the guys in the office, I can see this being quite a hybrid role from now on, recruitment, for instance. And I can imagine it's probably very similar to you guys anyway, because you're out and about and seeing people all the time. But I don't think it's healthy to have somebody in the office all the time. And, sometimes some people have to travel like an hour and a half a day in total, sat in cars, wasting money, getting stressed out. You could start the day wonderfully brilliant, get in your car and you're a nightmare, aren't you? Because you've been cut up or something, or, and you've got to find parking, and it becomes a stress on the day. And I think if we can create that kind of hybrid, trusting lifestyle, that work balance lifestyle, I think it's only going to be beneficial to lots of people's mental health, but also to the environment, because there'll be less people on the roads and all that kind of stuff. So I think there's a lot of positives that are coming off the back of this, and the technology side of it as well. As you said, at first it's all like, well, I don't want to use videos, it's confusing, and then bam, people are just on it, used to it. older generation are using it more anyway because they're interacting with the grandchildren or their children, and everyone's kind of doing it from a family perspective. So I think it's going to add, again, this ease of doing business. If you can just pick the phone up, have a video chat, happy day, isn't it? You don't have to kind of go out, sit there with somebody, although it's nice. It's just an added
Yeah,
way to build that rapport, isn't it?
I think with the technology as well. So I had a meeting this morning with one of our employee benefit consultants because Mattioli Woods deal with the wealth management and the employee benefits as well.
Right.
So for businesses to ensure their staff are being looked after and to talk about the employee benefit side of that. And they mentioned that I think, if I'm right, 76% of employers are now looking at their employees' well-being and the benefit packaging in place to make sure that they're well looked after. But considering before, percent of employers, that's quite a lot that believe that they're not in the right position to look after their employees.
What
And
is this during COVID-19? Is it during the lockdown?
Since COVID-19, are now looking to review their employee benefit position to ensure that their employees are being looked after. So it's huge.
It is huge. And we've got Health Shield, actually. I bought that in here at Recruit UK, Health Shield.
We have that as well.
Yeah, it's a really good proposition. And I know some of the guys have found it really beneficial, especially things like the counselling, because it's like you get like 8 counselling sessions via video as part of the proposition. And if you want to pay for more, you can pay for more, and then you get some free as well. So it's really good. It's a really good proposition, and I can understand that as well. And I think, again, like, the more people are working away from the office, and we've noticed in this, some people can deal with it okay and some people can't. One day you might feel really good and the next day you might feel really bad. But it's a problem, isn't it? Because you're sat there on your own. And I found it as a director, I'm sitting there on my own and I'm thinking, I just really want to reach out to someone and talk to somebody, but I sound a bit needy, I sound a bit like, and it's tough, isn't it? But it's things that we kind of can get used to. But I also feel sorry for the people as well, like especially in some of these companies where they're going to work because they want to go to work because it's part of their social group. And not everybody likes being on their own, do they? And they like to go to work, and they're missing out on that interaction that they might not get in, from being at home in their normal sort of home life, because work was their social life as well. That's a big part of it as well. And all these massive companies saying they're not going to, we don't need the office space anymore, and we don't need this. We're going to save a load of money, and great, pump it into some employee benefit stuff as well to make sure they're looked after. But I don't think do away with the office. I think that's madness.
Yeah, I think it's still important to have an office space. People communicating is so important still. It's not. I think this technology is great, but I think there has to be a balance. I don't think it can be completely one-sided. Everybody working from this. I just don't think that is. No, a lot of people work different, don't they? Like you said, people prefer that one-on-one relationship. They prefer to be around people, and being at home all day. Yeah, it's only going to be so long before people actually miss that, and people already are. So yeah,
they are, absolutely. It's about balance. It's about creating this hybrid, flexible type role, isn't it? And then when people need it, they can use it. And then a huge part of that is about trust, isn't it? It's about employers trusting their employees that they are going to do the work where they are. And I think when we're forced into a situation like this, we're forced into trusting people. And I think what you tend to find is the people that can rise to the occasion around that trust will, and the ones that don't won't. And they might well be wrong for the structure of the business that we're in. All right, cool. All right, great stuff. Well, listen, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. And, I've spoken to you before. We've had some good chats over the telephone. And, Nathan, you always struck me as somebody who was very passionate about their industry they're working in and the company that you work for and the journey that you've been on. And it's not a typical journey. And this is the reason why I got you on the podcast, because not everybody I come across starts, at the bottom, if you like, within a business at the young age that you did. And I think it's testimony to the fact that your business has obviously got a fantastic career structure in place. So we want to look at that and understand that a bit more, and how you progressed through that, and the things that worked for you really well and the things that perhaps didn't, and your learnings on your journey to get you to the level that you are now of being a financial planner. So first question I always like to ask is, how did you get into the industry? How did you get into a financial planning company?
Yeah, so I'll take it back to the start because financial planning was never what I wanted to do. It was just didn't even cross my mind. I just didn't even think of pursuing a career like this. But whilst at college, I was a student governor and didn't realise, but one of the actual governors on the board was Ian Mattioli.
Right.
So I was quite fortunate to have been given the opportunity to come and work for Mattioli Woods. That doesn't necessarily mean anybody that's in college cannot pursue the same route that I have. It was just that I met Ian and that gave me the opportunity and made me realise this is the career I want. Whereas a lot of people already know that and they can come in from what happened next. And that was starting at the bottom. I'd come from college. At the time, they didn't have an apprentice scheme or anything like that in place, whereas now we do. And we have a graduate scheme, which I hadn't been to university. And at that time, you needed to have gone to university. So again, it was just a case of working alongside existing client relationship managers and helping them, and also helping out in reception, opening post. So doing all of the jobs that are in the business and starting from basics and working my way up. So
okay, well let's talk about that then. So okay, so you were at college. You were in one of the. Did you say you were a counsellor or something? Did you say like a?
So I was a governor.
Governor.
On the yes.
Okay, and Ian Mattioli was also a governor as well, and he obviously noticed something in you. Did he? How did he? What, did he approach you? Did he say, what do you want to do with your life? Well, how did that come about? That's quite lucky. It's quite lucky in a way. There's something in that, isn't there? A little bit of luck going on. I think. Maybe, I don't know.
It's a little bit strange. So with the meetings that I was in, nothing was said in their meetings. It was a case that I would have my part of the meeting that I would present. I'd talk about the things that we've been doing in college, different things that we should think, that we thought as students needed to be incorporated into the college to make it better. And it was just a 3 or 4 meetings that I was in. And after that, my principal called me to the office and just said that Ian Mattioli is a successful businessman and he is one of the governors and would love you to work for him after college. So I was just blown away.
Yeah, I bet you were.
Yeah, so yeah, that's how it kind of come about. And then I was given the opportunity to go into Mattioli Woods and to shadow Ian for the day. So it was a case of going into the office and actually looking around, seeing the sort of things he gets involved in from clients, management, etc. And just loved it. So yeah.
Well, interesting. So you were leaving, how old were you when you left college?
So I was 19 when I left college.
Mm-hmm.
I travelled to Australia to visit family straight from college with my granddad, which was amazing. And then when we come back, that's when I started at Mattioli Woods. So started when I was 20.
You started when you were 20 at Mattioli Woods, yeah. Okay,
yes.
Great stuff. So you did your college thing. You got essentially, picked by Ian to come on in and to work with, underneath. Were you working directly underneath Ian? Were you supporting him, or what? What was your introduction? Because you mentioned you were pretty much doing everything by the sounds of it, a bit of faxing, a bit of this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
But let's talk about your grassroots level. What was your first sort of, your first year like when you were working there?
So one of the, so if I give you an overview of Mattioli Woods, I'll just try and break it down quite concise. But we are a fully integrated model. So advisor, provider, we offer the investments, etc. in-house. The pensions themselves are our own. So there's a lot of different roles within the company rather than just one sort of element. So going into the position I did, I was a client relationship manager support.
Okay.
So alongside our consultants, we have dedicated client relationship managers.
Okay.
So each consultant will have between 1 to probably 5 client relationship managers, depending on their sort of workload, how many schemes they look after. And it was my job to assist them client relationship managers with the day-to-day running of them pension schemes and their investments.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just getting an idea of to what they did day to day, and allowed me to build up a skill set in terms of that to be able to then progress into that role. But alongside that, I also helped out with reception. I helped out doing post, etc.
Okay.
And that was just part of the role, just to help out and get a good understanding for how the business is run.
Okay. So that sort of grassroots entry level, then, do you think that's beneficial? Say, if someone comes to me now and said, or come to you and said, look, you know, I want to become a financial advisor. I want to be a financial advisor. Maybe they're 20 years old. What would your advice be? Would it, you know, to a 21-year-old coming to you saying, I want to be a financial advisor? What would you say?
A lot of younger people think that the consultancy role is the best you can get,
Yeah.
and they want to get there as quickly as they can. It's kind of, it's up there, and it's what everybody wants to achieve. But I always believe that the grassroots and actually working your way through and understanding the business that you work for, understanding how that business works and the products and services you offer, is massively important. And whilst it may take you a couple of years longer in order to get to where you want to be, I've found that it's been much more beneficial to me to have that background to now be in the role that I am, because I understand everything. I understand how it works, I understand the technicalities of things, time frames, processes. I have a good understanding of the people I work with, who I need to go to for certain things, and sign-offs as well. Whereas people that tend to want to rush into that financial advisor role, they may not actually fully understand the business they're working for, the processes. So it means that when they're advising clients, they could be advising on the wrong timeframes. They might not fully understand the process, and then it lets the client down. And it's all these different things which may not seem an issue to some people, but they can massively affect relationships with clients and trust as well. And that's a massive thing for our job.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think starting at a sort of grass level and working your way in doesn't mean you've got to do that forever, but it just means that you get a good understanding, and when you are advising clients, you know exactly what you're talking about, and that's, I think, really important. So yeah, I think it's probably the best way to get into it.
Yeah, getting a real good understanding of the processes and systems and timescales and what the individual has to do in that role as well. Because as I guess you gradually move up the ranks and you hit the level of what you guys call a consultant, which I assume is a financial planner. Yeah, when you reach that the heights of where you want to be, you've got a good understanding of the structure of the business and what the client timescales and turnarounds can be on certain
Yeah,
types of reviews or requests and all that kind of stuff. And I suppose an understanding and a respect for the people in that position as well. So when it comes to you, you know, trying to manage your own expectations, the client's expectations, you're also thinking, I suppose, around the wider business and about the impact it has on
exactly.
those guys as well.
Yeah.
Does that help you sort of become a better consultant, you know, socially as well within the business? Are you sort of,
Yeah. So
yeah,
I've built up really strong relationships with colleagues internally across the business, and it's massively important. And exactly like you said, by me being in that role, if a client was to do, for example, a property purchase, or they wanted to take their pension commencement lump sum, for example, I know the processes and I know what needs to go into that, and I know what the client relationship manager needs to do in order to achieve it. So whilst it may seem, right, we're just buying a property or we're just placing an investment, it can't be that hard. There are a lot of things that if you haven't been in that role, you don't actually understand. So you might say, yeah, right, that'll take a couple of days, or it could take a week, or it could take a month. So it's really just having that expectation, not only for the client, for yourself, but also for the wider team that's involved. And I think, yeah, it's massively important. And it allows them to have trust in you as well.
mm,
So they know that you're looking out for them. They know that you're looking after them and making sure that they're okay and not under pressure.
mm,
Because if you just fire something on somebody, they're just going to crack.
mm.
So having an understanding for what their role is and being able to work with them is massively important.
Is there a lot of pressure in the role of, say, a client relationship manager, administrator? I don't really ever think about it when if I'm honest. I don't, you kind of just think, oh, they're supporting me. If I was a financial advisor or a recruiter, they're supporting me. That
Yeah.
egotistical kind of stance, I think. But, you've done the job. Is there a lot of pressure upon you in a supporting function?
Yes, absolutely. So as a client relationship manager, I know now I'm a consultant. I know that without my client relationship managers, I wouldn't be able to do the job that I do as well as I do,
Hmm.
because they are a massive help, and they have their own relationship with the clients as well. So if a client, for example, has got investments, they've got cash, property, whatever it may be in their pension, and then they've also got the wider investments that we provide alongside that, that client relationship manager is responsible for making sure that everything's dealt with. So if a client wants to sell an investment, whilst I'll provide the advice and all the strategic planning behind it, the client relationship manager is the one that is actually facilitating the documentation. They're speaking to the investment providers, if external. If they're our own, they're liaising with them. They're talking through all the different processes to make sure everything's right for the client. If a client had a property purchase, or a property in their pension, or a borrowing or anything like that, they're looking into that as well to make sure rents are being paid, making sure insurance is in place, making sure if a lease comes to expiry that, right, we're looking at putting a new lease in place. They do all the reporting, VAT returns. There's so much to that job.
Mm.
So if they're doing that for, say they've got 100 clients or 150 clients that they look after, it's quite a demanding job. So yeah, they are massively important, and they provide a massive resource for the business as well.
And do you think so let's say, for example, like, because the route of, say, an administrator in that you can go from administrator into like power planner position, or you could go
Yes.
from like administrator to power planner to financial advisor.
Yeah.
Um, do you think somebody who's got that kind of drive to be an advisor would get bored quite quickly in an administrator role? Do you think the skill set required to do the job really well doesn't suit perhaps an extroverted type person who gets bored quite easily? But put them in front of a client and they've got,
Yeah.
wow the pants off of them with all their charisma or whatever. Or, is that any kind of truth in that?
I think it really depends on the business you work for and what that job entails. With us, because it's so varied, we don't just deal with pensions and standard investments. It is very bespoke. There's a lot of different things going on. The client relationship manager actually works alongside the consultant. So anything I put in place, we have a chat, we sit down, we discuss what the plan is and what we're doing for this client. And we work together as a team to achieve that. So they're very much involved in the planning as well.
Right.
So it is. I was a client relationship manager for 5 years, and I absolutely loved it. There was so much opportunity there, so many different specialisms, whether investments, property, loan backs, which is a loan from the pension to the business. It's all very technical stuff. So being involved in that and you can be a specialist in them areas, that keeps you occupied as well. It gives you something different to look at. So I was a specialist in different areas. So the property team, borrowings, loan backs to companies, VAT, pension contributions and sort of taper and relief, etc. So quite complex areas, and also death benefits, divorce, etc. So I specialised in them areas as I gradually built my way up in the client relationship manager role. So it's not just a case that you're doing the same thing every day. Every day is different, every client's different, and every outcome is different. And then having them different roles on top give you that element of responsibility and a different view from the day-to-day job as well. So
Okay.
yeah, it keeps it very much exciting, and I learned something every single day. So there was never a day where I didn't learn something new.
Okay.
And yeah, so I don't. It depends on. I guess one business might just do one certain thing. So there might be a team that deal with a valuation. So they'll run valuations every day for the clients in that company, or they may process the investments for that for the clients in that company. Whereas with us, we do everything. So as that client relationship manager, you've got you basically have responsibility for everything. You process everything that gets given. That allows you to build a broad skill set, and that's why it's been so beneficial to me in going through that into where I am now.
Yeah, because it's like a grassroots level. You've got your foundations, you're building up the client relationships, you're understanding the process, you're getting an exposure to the different products and specialisms, as you put it, as well. You give yourself the ability to kind of get noticed as well within the business about having that
Yeah.
specific type of knowledge, and you're starting to build relationships and understanding what the financial advisor does. Well, you getting to sit in with the financial advisors as well on their client
Yeah.
meetings and stuff like that as well.
Yes. So with me, I'm probably skipping ahead. You may want to ask me this separately, but in terms of why I wanted to become a financial advisor, was because of the relationships I built with clients. So in that client relationship manager role, you build relationships with clients because you speak to them, you let them know what's going on. You're in constant communication with them as and when needed. So going out with a consultant and actually meeting them it is a big important role, because it means that they then know that, right, I've met that person that I'm speaking to as well. So when they call you up, they're familiar with who you are. So I went out on quite a lot of meetings with consultants, got to meet the clients that I was looking after, and yeah, just again builds relationships, which is amazing, and that's
Yeah.
what I loved.
Yeah, and it makes that job real, doesn't it? I always remember, when you're on the phone, just phoning people up all the time, doing business development calls, etc., and then you actually generate a client or something. This is from my perspective, really, in all the history of different jobs I've done. But when I got out and sat down and met somebody, looked into the whites of their eyes, it always is a completely different
Yeah.
relationship. You walk away, and when you get on the phone to them the next time, it's a different tone of voice. It's a different sort of understanding. And this is the thing, video definitely adds that, I think. It gives you that kind of, I don't think it actually fulfills that connection, but I
No.
think it aids it. It sort of gives it a little bit more. Because let's talk about you and me, like you and me talking on the telephone. We got on well on the phone, didn't we? And then we got on the video and had a little kind of brief chat on video, and it was different. And now today, when we spoke on the video, we were far more relaxed, weren't we?
Yeah.
Because we've seen each other and we've kind of understood where we're coming from. And I'm sure if we ever meet each other on a face-to-face basis, it'll be handshakes and how you doing type thing, isn't it? So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, it does definitely work. And I think that's a good part about it as well, is if you're getting into the financial advice industry and you're looking at the companies that you're working for, is okay. So if you're going to go in at a level where you're going in as an administrator, what actually are you doing? Are you literally just sitting at a computer doing administration, chasing evaluations and stuff like that? How much variety is there in the actual role that you're doing? If you want to become a financial advisor, ask the questions at interview. How is this role that I'm coming in? How is this going to benefit me to becoming an advisor? Is there opportunity for me to sit down with clients and observe meetings, or am I able to speak to clients in a client relationship role? Because not all financial advice firms have client relationship managers. They'll have their administrator, they'll have their power planner, and that power planner just sits there and does what they're doing. And the financial advisor looks after all the relationships, and that's it. They're like, give it a mine, you do the admin and I'll do this. This is the part I do. And I speak to so many like power planners, for instance, that, they're absolutely more than capable of becoming financial advisors, but I think they're being held back. There's lots of power planners ready to become advisors, or ready to be trained or coached or developed and guided, but the firms aren't willing to invest that time, energy, and money into them. I don't know. It's just like, oh, you're a good power planner, you stay there. You're a good administrator, stay there. And it tends to be the smaller firms. Not everybody. When you start looking at the firms that are a little bigger and have thought about the process and the structure of how someone can move through the business, those are the ones that are starting to really add value to the next generation, I think, of financial planners.
Yes, yeah, agreed. And with client relationship managers, they have the ability to speak to clients. So if I've got 100 clients, my client relationship manager may look after 50 of them. I may have another client relationship manager that looks after the other 50, for example. But yeah, they would speak to the client and they would be their point of contact. So they do have a variety of different things they can do. If something happens within the pension scheme, they can work together in achieving that and come up with a solution. and then refer it to me. And then I would say, right, yeah, that's a good, or we'll do that actually, but we'll add this on. So it's giving that responsibility as well. And from a power planner perspective, there are a lot of people that just enjoy that and they don't want to do the consultancy element of it. And we do have power planners, but that's not for every day. So us as consultants, all of our letters are very bespoke to our clients because we know our clients. So we don't have a system where we put information in and then it pre-populates. All of our letters are bespoke to our clients. And I think that's another important thing with the company I work for, is keeping that bespokeness to that client. So when they read it, they know it's from you, and they know it's not just a case of bish, bash, bosh, there you go, here's a letter. So whilst we do have the support there in terms of any technical sort of things that we're doing, we might need certain technical input and how to word that, and we do have the support. But yeah, it is very much, we do our letters and we make that bespoke for our clients.
Okay, great. So you were doing that client relationship manager role for 5 years.
Yeah.
Now, you're obviously quite knowledgeable around your pensions and different areas of financial planning. You didn't fluke that, and you haven't just, you've obviously studied towards that and had some on the job training as well, I assume, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But how about your qualifications then? Because you got approached by Ian, and Ian said, come and we want you to come and work for us on an introductory basis, and on a entry level basis.
Yes.
What was your route to becoming level 4 qualified then? So were you given training on the job? Did you have to do it through an advisor school in your own time? What was your route to becoming level 4 qualified?
So it's quite funny actually, because I never thought I'd be able to do it. I always looked at that as a massive obstacle. Going back to the fact that we go out with consultants and we're able to see and meet clients, that was really the driver for me. And the consultants would talk to me and would say, Nathan, you'd make a really good consultant. Do your exams and we can get you into the training and you can become a consultant. And I used to say, oh no, like I can't do it. And then it was a case of, right, we're moving you into the role now. We know you want to do it. We know you'll be good at it. You've got 6 months. Let's see if you can get your exams done. Obviously that was just to put a bit of pressure on me to make me believe myself and make me do it. And it did. And even though I didn't have to get them done in 6 months, I did. I got them done in 7 months and passed them all. So I was quite impressed.
That's amazing.
with myself.
In 7 months you passed. Which exams did you do?
So I did all 6. Waro 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah.
In 7 months?
7 months, yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it was hard work, but worth it.
Right, okay, because some of the people that I've spoken to, like, the advice they always give me is don't stop. Otherwise you'll lose momentum. So once you pass one, do another. Once you pass one, do another. But most people I've been speaking to have been passing it in like 18 months, 24 months. So to get those all done within that short space of time is pretty amazing. So what's your advice? What's your advice to getting your level 4 qualifications done within 6 months?
Well, it was, I don't want to sound like I'm blowing my own trumpet because I'm not, but I was doing at the time the client relationship manager role and some of the specialisms. I was also on the training consultant role as well. So going out with consultants twice a week for a full day and helping them with follow-up. So I'd draft my own letter to see what they thought and they would help me with it. So I was doing all of that whilst also doing my exams. So in the evenings, I would just dedicate my time to say, right, 10 pages like a night I want to cover. And everybody works different. But for me, I was writing everything out and it was taking forever. And I thought, right, I really want to, like, a lot of this is not sticking in. So I'd go through the book, I'd highlight it, and then I'd focus my time on past papers and I would just nail past papers. So 10 pages a night. If I was doing well and I was quite enjoying it, then I'd probably go to 15 pages that night. But I'd make sure every single night I dedicated that time to it. And I did that every night and I'd just nail past papers. And anything I got wrong, I'd write the notes down, I'd go back to the book, I'd read on the parts that I've got wrong, and then I'd make my notes, because then I know the bits that have stuck in and what have not. and then I'd move on, next past paper the next night. So it'd be an hour or 2 hours, depending upon what exam it was, to do it. But I just thought it was so worth it. And by doing that, I would then get said 6 past papers. I'd then go back to the first one again, resit it. Right, I'm still getting that bit wrong. Okay, let's read on it again. And that's what I did. And it really worked. And it stuck in, because when you get things wrong, you can see it there. So I'd read when I'd read the answers, I'd go through like the first 10, and then I'd look at the book and go through. I'd do it that way. So it really stuck in rather than trying to cram everything in. But yeah, and then I did that and I passed, and I thought, wow, that was a hard exam and I've passed.
Yeah.
And then I thought, right, I'm going to try it again. So I did it again, passed the next one. And yeah, it just continued like that.
Just spiraled like that. And you just continued to book them, did you? Did you book them all in advance, or did you just pass one, book one, pass one, book one?
So I used to work with a guy, and he knew that I didn't really have much confidence in passing them. And
Right.
he was doing it at the same time. And he said, Nathan, book an exam. You won't regret it, because you've got the date in there and you're just going to have to do it, and it'll push you. So that's what I did. So what I then did after that is I booked that, and about 2 weeks before sitting the exam, I would order my next book. So I knew the next book was on the way. So as soon as I've sat that exam, pops up pass, then I go home, have a couple of days off to rest, and then I'd get onto the next book, and then I'd start reading that, and that's how I did it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so end of the day, you structured your learning, didn't you? You didn't overload yourself. You said yourself, you set a realistic daily goal of 10 pages. How long did 10 pages take you? Like an hour or so, or?
Yeah, about an hour and a half. Because you'd read things and you'd want to read over it again. Sometimes if it didn't make sense, you'd go over it again.
Yeah.
So about an hour and a half a night. But I always find with the exams, it is very complex. The exams, they're not hard if you put the time into it and you actually focus and understand. I believe that breaking it down made it easy for me, because it meant that I've read 10 pages or I've read 15 pages. But when I go to sleep at that night, or if I'm walking, I can think, oh, right, okay, that happens and this happens. Rather than if I've read 30 pages, I've probably forgot half of it. So breaking it up into small pieces allows you to maintain the information, actually understand it, and then you continue. And I found that having the sort of training that we do, so going out with consultants, we'd cover things in the exam, and then it'd come up in the meeting, and I'm like, that's what that is. And I understand it now, I've seen it in practice, how it works. So that really helped me as well. And if I was out, I'd ask questions. I'd be like, oh, how come you did that then? Or why have you advised that? Oh, right, okay, because I've read this exam and it says blah, blah, blah. And they'll say, oh, yeah, so with that, that's this. This is how this is. So, and it helps you understand different things as well.
Okay.
So that's another benefit of having that sort of training alongside sitting exams, which I did.
And past papers, easy enough to get your hands on? People out there now, if they were listening to this, where could they get the past papers from?
So you can get them from CII. So you can actually get them from there, and they're really good. You also can get an audio as well. So if anyone walks or goes for a run, or even if you're just in bed and you're scrolling through social media, and you think, actually, I could probably do something better with my time, I used to literally read a chapter, and then I'd go onto the audio, play that whilst walking, and a lot of the time you probably zone out because you're walking and you're looking around, but some bits you'd be like, right, okay, and it just sticks it in again. So having the audio is probably a good thing as well, I found, but it's not hard to get a hold of at all.
I think the lack in the confidence side of it is something that a lot of people have. And when I was a lot younger, I did FPC1, and God, I'm not incredibly good around. Well, I'm saying that now. I'm saying it now, and of course, I'm 38 years old. I don't know if I'm any good at it. I haven't done it for a while. But when I was in school, I wasn't, brilliant at exams, for instance. I wasn't brilliant at exams.
I wasn't either.
Yeah, I wasn't brilliant at coursework, and for some reason, I just didn't seem to gel with school. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I loved sport. I loved people and everything. I did. I didn't skive school. I was good, but I just didn't get out of it. I didn't continue education. I left at 16 and went and worked. That was my pathway. It was interesting, really, because that lack of confidence It's brilliant, obviously, that you were at Mattioli Woods and that you were being shadowed and guided by other financial planners, and that you had people next to you that are also going through the exams. So I think that camaraderie and the mentorship is a massively important part of
It's, yeah.
a young advisor's journey. Did you think that when you were younger, in that role, did you feel like you weren't good enough, perhaps, or that you weren't old enough or experienced enough to pass those exams? What was it that was lacking? It was, how could someone listening to this might relate to your experience? What do you think it was that was making you lack that confidence in passing the exams and becoming an advisor?
So I think similar to you. So with school not really being that good at exams, I was better with coursework. But with these exams, a lot of them are multiple choice, and I was thinking, there's no way that I'm going to be able to do it. And being a consultant is such a big job. You've got big boots to fill. You've got a big responsibility looking after people's money and essentially their life as well. And I was thinking, these exams are going to be hard, and everybody said they was hard. And I was thinking, well, I never did well at exams at school. There's no way I'm going to be able to do it. And it's kind of a little bit that I didn't want to sit the exam and then fail and get knocked down. And I guess I just kept putting it off, because I thought, I'm working with people. If they know I'm sitting in an exam, I don't want to come back and be like, oh, I failed. And then if I do it again, oh, I failed again. And that was my biggest fear, because I thought, I've come in grassroots, I've come in entry level, I've built up my trust, I've got into the role I am now, and I don't want to look silly. But not that anybody in the business made me feel like that. Everybody was supportive. But it was just me personally thinking, I've come from college, I'm not used to this working environment. It's different to me. And it was just a case of people getting behind you and supporting you. And that's what happened. And people saying from a director level, Nathan, come on, you're coming into this role, you are going to do them, you can do it, because they've seen that I've been putting it off. And it's just having people that have faith in you and having faith in yourself. So I think dedicate that time, go through it and understand it, and do the past papers, even if it means doing past papers until you feel that you're at a point where, actually, I'm getting pass mark now. Okay, now I'll book it. But if you've got 6 past papers that you can keep going through, that's broadly going to cover exactly what's going to come up in the exam, even if it's worded in a different way. And each past paper will be worded in a different way to give you an idea of how they're going to try and catch you out different. So just focus on past papers, read and understand that book, and I think you'll be absolutely fine. If I did it, anyone can.
Yeah, there we go. No, not saying that because fair play. That's cool. That's the way I kind of look at things, actually. Because sometimes people pass them, don't they? At the end of the day, people get through it, and not everybody. Yeah. If you base your life's work on how you performed in your exams at school, I mean your GCSEs or whatever, then it's a bit sad, isn't it? And I think there's a lot of people out there that do that. They think, well, I'm not good at passing exams, so I'm not going to do any more for the rest of my life. Pretty much what I did. Just hide, set up a business instead, become a recruitment. Yeah. So yeah, cool. Okay, great. Well, that's really positive, and I think. Absolutely, that you said something else there, which I think is really important in the development of a young financial advisor, and something that I definitely come across is the guys that have been supported and girls that have been supported either with a program, mentorship, and a business that kind of invests in their futures and sees the value in them and doesn't sort of keep them down, if you like, enthuse them to actually progress. They do really well, and that's exactly what's happened to you. You're lucky you've gone into a company that really do invest in your future and also show you how to do it and get you to believe in it, more importantly, that you can. And I think that's a really important thing. And I did an article around mentorship and the importance of mentorship and how that can change a business, and especially within financial planning, where you've got less financial advisors coming into the industry now, less people becoming advisors. Now you've got your St. James's places and all that kind of stuff with their advisor schools, but these are people coming from another industry, say 30 years old, maybe 27, 40, 45, whatever age, but they're going straight into a financial advice role, and possibly sometimes straight into self-employment. because they don't
Yeah.
really want to go backwards, they feel, to an administrator position. But actually, these kind of natural, progressive, lower level roles where you keep somebody in with an incentive of becoming a financial advisor, and even if it's 5 years, imagine if you go in at 20 years old, right?
Yeah.
In 5 years' time, someone tells you you're going to be a financial advisor, right? And you'll be earning, on average, minimum £40,000, high end could be £100,000. There's some really good earnings to be had in financial planning as well. And if you express that
Yeah.
to somebody at the age of 20 years old and say, look, and you're a poster boy really for seven passing exams in 7 months, becoming a financial advisor. I mean, that's great stuff. And people should hear this story, because there isn't enough of this type of stories out there, really. And that's, I think, why a lot of people don't go into the industry. You're met with a massive barrier of having to do the exams, and then it's like, well, how am I going to do it? Where's the support? And I think there is support out there. People do it. There's some great companies offering it, and you're lucky enough to be part of it. So you managed then to pass your exams. You nailed your exams within a short period of time. Was that at the end of your stint of being a client relationship manager, or
No.
was it at the beginning and then you carried on? How did that work? Because I know there's a misconception as well. I've got my exams, I'm going to be a financial advisor now. We just said that, didn't
Yeah.
we? It doesn't quite work that way sometimes, because experience, isn't it? So over to you. How, when was that? Did the exams all of a sudden make you a financial advisor?
No, no. So there are people that may have their exams, but there's still a lot of training to be done. So it doesn't mean that just because you've got exams, you can then go out there and be a consultant. It doesn't mean that at all. And I say consultant because the way we look at it is we're not an advisor in terms of we don't just provide advice on a product. We are consultants. So we look at the wider picture. We look at what the client needs, and we put a plan in place and we consult them. And I did a LinkedIn post actually recently on that, about a consultant is somebody that is an expert in their field and is there to help people. And I think with the sort of role. Sorry, I've gone off course now. What was the question?
You're right. It happens every single time, so don't worry about it, Nathan. Problem is, it's trying to get me to remember what I said. That's the problem. So my point really was that you'd gone through as a client relationship manager. You got your level 4 qualifications really quickly, and it was like, does getting your level 4 qualifications then automatically make you a financial advisor? At what stage in your sort of early career did you then become an advisor? Did you get your exams first and then continue in a CRM role for a couple more years and get more experience, or did you go straight at that point into an advisor position? How was the transition?
Yeah, so with me, back to being a client relationship manager, not really having that faith in myself that I could do it, and then being put into the sort of training program for consultancy. That kind of pushed me to do it. So it was really, I was juggling the client relationship manager role and having the insight to the consultancy role as well. So it was very much towards the end of the client relationship manager role where I started doing my exams, and then that put me nicely into the role that I was in the training, which I then continued. There are people that are doing their exams. They may have their exams already, and they will stay in the client relationship manager role and get a bit more of an insight to that. And it's really at their discretion. So if they say, right, I think I'm ready for it now, they'll have a meeting with the manager and say, look, I'd like to progress that way. And they would have a conversation in terms of, right, you are ready, let's transition you into that. But yeah, for me, it was very much at the end of the client relationship manager role. And that then moved me nicely into continuing my training. And then I moved out.
Do you think that your age, an age of advisor, do you think it makes a difference?
Not really. So the average age of the consultants at Mattioli Woods are actually 37 years of age.
Right.
The average age. So that's quite young, because I think the average age in the industry is about 58, I think.
54, I think. Yeah, 58, 54.
Yeah. So we're quite young as a company, but I take pride in that, and I think clients do as well, and professional contacts, because we're not ending our sort of careers, and we're not coming to the end of our careers. We're in with what's going on. We're keen to learn. We are still learning, and we all learn from each other. And it just means that when you meet people, if I met a client that was 60 years of age, he knows I'm going to be around for way past, hopefully, that when his lifetime. And it means that he knows that he's got an advisor that can work with him throughout his life and then continue. So after he passes, for example, he's got that advisor that he trusts and he's built that relationship with that can then look after his family. And I don't know if it's just me personally, but I'm really close to my granddad, and a lot of people, a lot of the younger generation are close to their grandparents as well, or their parents, or even friends and family and their mums and dads. So it's kind of going into there, you build up a really good relationship, I think. I found as being someone younger, the clients really value you and they're like, you're doing really well for yourself. And then when you show them what you can do and impress them as well, it's just amazing. Yeah. And I think a lot of the older generation as well, they may have children that are younger than you, similar age, or even a bit older. And to be in the position, they know that you've obviously worked down hard to get to where you are. And if you're respectful and you show you care and you do a good job for them, I don't think you've got any issues. Whereas I think if you went in and you was a cocky and, oh, I'm a consultant and I'm going to manage your money, you won't get anywhere. But if you genuinely go in and you want to help them and you're down to earth and you stay grounded, you'll get a long way. And that's what I found, staying grounded, understanding the route that I've taken and not looking down on anybody. It just allows you to go into these clients and just be genuine and help them. And I think if you do that, it gets you a long way. If you genuinely care, it gets you a long way.
Yeah. Okay, great. So that kind of that early experience of being a CRM, client relationship manager, has probably helped you on that front because you've had to deal with lots of situations over the telephone, which tend to be harder because people say what they bloody want over the phone, don't they? You know, they don't care. They'll shout at you or all sorts of stuff. But you know, you probably have to deal with quite stressful situations like chasing things up and asking them for more personal information, all that kind of stuff, which can be quite annoying. But if you get that customer service element right, moving into a role where you're then having to consult them or advise them becomes a lot easier because you know how to build that rapport and you have that empathy that you learned from a very early age. I did a big stint. I used to work for Aviva, and I was a trainer for Aviva. So I was to train out guys who were involved in the joint venture between the RBS, Royal Bank of Scotland, so bonds and investments and pensions and all that kind of stuff. And I did a big stint in customer service, and I'm really pleased I did because I went straight into sales, and I kind of bummed out of sales because I found it a bit neggy. It was just full on, like, you know. And then I went into customer service, and I really enjoyed customer service. I liked helping people. I liked solving people's problems. They came to me and they were angry or they were stressed. I didn't see it as like, oh God, another annoying person on the telephone who's going to, do my head in. I genuinely cared, and I my mission was to resolve their situation or at least get them to understand that it can't be done or, I'm going to get you to understand what the situation is. It's about that as well. It's about getting someone to understand what's going on, isn't it?
That's what I love.
Giving them the idea of like, I'm not trying to sell you something. I'm not trying to shove you down sort of shove you down somewhere that's going to make me the most money. I'm doing this to protect your future wealth and your family's wealth. And, we're going to look at these areas. So that kind of leads into really your financial planning role then. So you say to me, tell me what makes a great financial planner? What do you think makes a great financial planner?
So I think it goes off what you've just said, really. So I'll start off with the fact that you said about helping people. And I'm not trying to push Mattioli Woods as we're the best thing in the world, but we are employed. So I'm employed by Mattioli Woods, which means that I'm not forced to sell certain investments. I'm not forced or encouraged to sell anything. I'm employed by the company, and it means that I can go out there, sit with a client and put down exactly what's best for them. So there's no, if you put the client into that, you're going to get a bigger bonus, or if you sell this, you get a bigger bonus. It doesn't work like that with us. But the thing I love most about my role is sitting down with someone, just taking all their stress away, putting it in front and just laying it down on the table and just saying, right, okay, what do you want to achieve? Tell me your current position. So you learn everything about them. And to be honest, I love that. The fact that the stuff that you find out from people, they probably don't even tell their own children. It's very private information. So being given the opportunity for somebody to trust you to give you that information, that gives me such great pride to show that that person really trusts me and that like I can help them. So it's a case of gathering all the information, learning what their objectives are for the short, medium, and long term, and then looking at everything they've put down on the table and saying, right, okay, this is what we've got to do. Let's look at this, consolidate that, do this, do that, and right, that will then be the position then, and then this is what it'll allow you to achieve. And that's what I love doing. I love just taking that stress away, looking at what they want to achieve and what they've currently got, and then proposing a strategy that will allow them to meet them objectives quite easily, and then continuing to work with them. And when you see that starting to pay off, it's amazing. I love looking at things, looking back at clients that I've helped and going, oh, actually, wow, yeah, that's starting to plan out now exactly how we thought. And to call them up and to say, oh, so what we proposed and we did this and this, well, that's now working and this is what's happening. And to hear how happy they are, that's just like the best feeling in the world. And it just drives you. So I spoke to a client yesterday about the proposition we'd done for them. And I was saying, look, even with what's going on, we're in this position. And to hear how happy she was and reassured, it was just the best feeling in the world. And I come off that call, I was speaking earlier about obviously COVID-19, and sometimes you can feel a bit low on some days, and the next day you might feel right up here. But after speaking to that client, I was right up here because it was like, that's the best feeling in the world. So I come off and I was like doing all different things like with work, and I felt really pumped from that. And yeah, that's the sort of drive that I get. That's what
I can feel you there.
I love about the job.
Yeah, it's a part that I take. It's a part of any job that I do. I think that you can transfer that to any job. Doesn't matter if you're stacking shelves on, in Tesco's. I think if you genuinely care about the outcome, if you genuinely care about the people it affects, and you can make someone's life that bit better, I think that's the part of the job that I love in any respect. And when you say about being a consultant, I agree. Yeah. It is about looking at every aspect of that person's life and trying to better it. Because as soon as you start putting yourself at the center of gain,
doesn't work.
It's selfishness. It's just, it doesn't work. And you're going to go put your head on the pillow at night and go, oh, I might have earned some money, but unless you're a psychopath, you're going to turn around and go like, well, Jesus, that's come out now. That's probably shouldn't have done that. I've been in situations where I've sat with someone and I've spoken about a company and thinking to myself, did you really want to push them down that company way, Sam? Was that really the right way to go? And you end up giving them a call and saying, look, there are some other options and I want you to look at it, because you need a real kind of clear balance of where your career can go. And that's the kind of, I get it. And I love that feeling of helping somebody. And also what you said earlier, and I think this is what a lot of people who are thinking about getting into the industry don't quite understand. They just think, oh, it's a financial advisor. It's a guy in his 50s with a pair of glasses and a calculator. And it's not, is it? It's actually very much going into this well-being proposition. And you said it lightly, you said you sit down with somebody and you put everything out on paper. Now, I guess, and I assume what you're saying there is you're putting their goals down. You're putting their fears down, their worries, their concerns, the things that make them anxious. How are they going to survive when it comes past pension? When can they retire? Is there money to be left over? I've heard all about tax, and am I going to get taxed my nuts off if I die? All this sort of stuff. And it's about, and I think as well, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but someone can have 10 quid in their bank account and be stressed out about it. And someone can have 10 million quid in their bank account and be stressed out about it. It's the same stress, isn't it? Is it the same stress? Is it the same problems that people are having?
Yeah, I agree. Somebody could have 10 million, but that might be, you don't know how that's invested. You don't know how that impacts their life. They may be reliant on that 10 million. And without £100 of it or £1,000 of it, that might really impact their life in whatever it may be. Same with £10, that may be all somebody has. But yeah, it's kind of like last week I had an inquiry and I spoke to him and he said, look, Nathan, I'm 50 years old and I've been a spender all my life. Me and my wife, we've had amazing holidays. We've done this, this, and this. And now I'm coming to retirement. Like, I'm looking to retire in 15 years' time. And he said, I've not actually looked at what I've got. I don't know how I'm going to get to where I am or where I want to be. And it was really just taking it back. So learning, okay, what's your salary? What's your outgoings? Can you cut back on your outgoings? Have you got a mortgage? How long's your mortgage? And he was saying about how his friends are paying off their mortgages now, but he's still got quite a lot. He's got loans that he's taken out that he's paying interest on, and he's not focused on his pension, this, that, the other. And it was all just a bit of a mess. And it was really just painting a picture of, right, this is what you want to achieve. This is what you could have, but this is what we need to do to get there. And we're given the right tools and equipment that in that call, based on everything that he'd provided, so his current position, I was able to actually on the call with him, do some future illustrations based on a conservative growth rate and the proposition I could put in place for him and savings, this, that, the other, to say that, right, this is what you could achieve by 65, and this is just you. And it was just about right in terms of what he needed. And then I said, so we've actually got you, we can actually get you to the position that you need to be just by doing this. On top of that, you've got your state pension. On top of that, you've got your wife's pension and her investments. So if we tally all this in together as a big plan, you're going to be okay. But we just need to make sure that we follow this route and that we keep on top of it. So if something changes and his salary decreases, or something happens and he has to take another mortgage out or whatever it may be, or he gets divorced, you can just tweak that strategy in terms of, right, gone a bit off course here, how do we get back on it?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think having that kind of plan in place is so important, and being able to learn about a client's objectives and provide that clear strategy to them is pretty amazing. And to be able to see that client at the end of the call, he emailed me and said he'd opened a bottle of wine and they was drinking it because he literally thought that he'd just completely messed it up. He thought, I've left it too late. I'm not going to be able to achieve this. I'm going to have to cut back. I'm going to have to downsize my house. He was stressing about it.
Yeah.
But to say, actually, if we follow this, you're going to be absolutely fine. You've not got to downsize your house. You've not got to do this. You can get the income you need. It's just an amazing feeling.
Good. So that's a big part of the job that you like then. And I'm guessing that if you would advise somebody, if you were to say to somebody, look, you know, the career in financial planning, you're going to make people very happy. You're going to ease people's anxieties and fears and worries around money. Now, be a bit controversial here. People with money, right? They've got money. You tend to advise people that have money.
Yeah.
Right. So as a financial advisor, especially post RDR and you're getting rid of commissions and it's all fee based and everything like that.
Yeah.
You tend to feel that there's a certain type of client that can afford financial advice over other people. And a lot of people in the UK are being pushed to one side because they're deemed to be not being able to afford advice. Do you think that's fair? Or
I think that the view on financial advice is that it's for the rich, for the famous, and you've got to have money to be able to have a financial advisor. But that's not the case at all. I think financial advice is available to anybody. And if you can put a plan in place, I think one of my colleagues, Sarah, she actually did a post on this. And it was saying if you're 30 years of age, and it talked about certain things. I'll share the article with you that she did. But it was saying 30 years of age, saving X amount of money a year, assuming a relative growth rate, etc., and having the right planning in place, you could reach a value of maybe £1 million. And it's kind of, that's probably somebody that's got nothing right now, and they're probably at the early start of their career and this, that, the other. But I think if you look at the benefits of advice, sometimes it outweighs that cost, and it depends on the charging structures of the people you're working with. I know for us, we have different pensions for different people. So if we've got somebody at the start of their career, a professional, and they're looking to grow that, we've got a certain pension scheme for that client, which is limited on cost, and it just allows somebody to build up their pension pot before they need to get to more of a sophisticated pension scheme. But having that advice and working with somebody from outset, talking through a plan, and then building that through, the benefits of that initial cost probably massively outweighs everything else. So yeah, I think it is deemed to be, you've got to be rich, you've got to have money, but sometimes you have to have that advice and that guidance to be able to get money and to understand where you need to put your money. So yeah, I think overall, I think the industry has looked at that it is expensive, where it's not always the case.
So a big part of that really, again, in a lot of people banging the drum, is a financial education, isn't it really? It's educating people that, now's the time to start looking after your money. If you stick this amount of money into your pension. I was listening to some guy earlier and, he was saying, like, if you want £1 million in your pension and you're a certain age, like, now's the time to start putting it in there. I can pretty much guarantee I'll get you £1 million in your pension. It's like the earlier you start doing it, isn't it, the better. But the problem is, I suppose, is that we're not really taught about it at a young age. We're not taught about it in our 20s or whatever. And all we want to do in a consumerist world is, as your mate did until he was 50 years old, go on nice holidays and drink beer and party. That's the kind of the vibe that people are kind of seeing, is it, on Instagram and all that kind of stuff. But you are starting to see people on social media, especially financial advisors now, taking advantage of personal branding, raising their profiles and saying, look, guys, here's some free advice. Let me tell you about how a pension works. Let me tell you about compound interest. Let me tell you about the well-being side and how good you're going to feel when you start looking after your money. How stressed are you around debt and credit cards and all of that? Let me teach you about that. Let's look at ways that we can get you saving money. Have you thought about these saving spots? And I think that's really good. And social media being a very obvious place for financial advisors to do it. And you started to embrace a little bit on social media. I can see it. You're starting to put yourself out there a bit, aren't you? And, and does that help you generate new clients? Have you built many new relationships or et cetera off the back of that?
In lockdown, I've actually built a lot of professional contacts. I've had a lot of inquiries from LinkedIn as well.
Yep.
It's just really, again, going back to that, just being genuine, wanting to help people and saying, use me as a soundboard if you need help. I had a call this morning with a guy in Scotland that had come across my profile and wanted to approach me about, how do I get in the industry? What do I need to do? I had a guy a couple of weeks ago that did the same. And then probably a couple of months ago again. So I've had people reach out to me that are looking to get into the industry, and I've helped them and I've given them guidance, which I've really enjoyed because I've been in that position.
Yeah.
So it's nice to be able to give that to them. But yeah, LinkedIn is massive, and I have tried to create that brand for myself, that whilst I work for Mattioli Woods, like, I am a consultant and I will be the one that you're working with. So the Mattioli Woods is the company I work for. I'm employed by Mattioli Woods. But like, if you can come to me, that's absolutely fine. We can talk through stuff. We can plan this stuff.
Well, the thing is with LinkedIn as well, all of your professional connections that you want to work with, right? Whether that's acting, professional connections being a client, someone that, you manage their money, or an introducer relationship. So somebody who could pass on a client to you to give advice, whether that's an accountant, solicitors, or sports entertainer, or personal trainer, whatever your kind of niche is, and whoever you want to generate client introductions from. And I think not every financial advisor, but a lot of financial advisors overlook the power of LinkedIn. And I've said it before on pretty much every kind of podcast, really, is that there is such a huge network. You can, if you use something like a sales navigator, you can look at people based on their age, their demographic, where they live, their job titles, everything, and you can really home in on those types of people. And if you construct beautifully well-crafted in-mails and actually kind of make them
Yep.
engaging, and have an automated system to follow it up and everything like that, you can generate some amazing leads. It's a full-time, it feels a bit like a full-time job sometimes doing LinkedIn. Trust me, in a recruiter world, you're doing everything. You're spinning phone calls and emails and emails and all that kind of stuff. But one thing I've definitely seen, and when I started working with like lead generators that will work on your behalf, looking after your profile, optimizing it, and then reaching out to your core demographic to generate leads, so successful, so much better than like your inbound marketing campaigns from digital marketing and all of that kind of stuff. And I think the advisors who are starting to do that are starting to see the value in it, of building a following as well, of niche audience that they want to work with. Putting that content out there on a regular basis, as you do, is only positive. And I mean, like, you're not spending hours a week, are you, sticking out content? I mean, you took a photo of a swan a couple of days ago that got about 30 likes.
It's good.
It was a good photo. It was definitely a good photo, but that's what you got to do, isn't it? Put something out that shows a bit of your personality as well, and a little message. And I think people like that. They buy into it.
Even with like my granddad, I've put things on there about my granddad, my brothers, that kind of thing. It's all relatable. I think I had a picture of my granddad holding a cake, and I said, financial planning isn't a piece of cake, but with the right advice, it can be. This relating things, but it's with LinkedIn. I've started doing voice notes. So if I connect to somebody that I've wanted to connect to, I'll send a personalized voice message. Somebody may find that creepy, I don't know. But I just send a voice note because it's personal, and they know that it's not just a message that's been sent to 1,000 people.
How are you getting on with that?
Really well.
Yeah.
I've actually had people voice noting me back, saying, actually, I didn't know you could do this. This is really cool.
Yeah.
Even just, if you see somebody's doing well, just message them and say, like, it's amazing you're doing well. And you build up relationships. There's actually a guy that, if he watches this, he'll probably laugh, but he was on LinkedIn that I'd connected with a while ago, and he'd put a video up of him and his daughters doing a TikTok on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And I messaged him and I said, it's so nice to see something different and refreshing, because it is all about COVID-19. Here's what I can do to help you. This is what I can do. And it's not very nice. You want something different. And that's what his video did. And he said, let's have a call tomorrow. And I said, okay, that's fine. Have a call. And he's one of the top tax advisors in the UK.
Lovely.
I had a really good chat with him, told him about what we do. He then said, right, one of my mates is one of the top 20 accountants in London. I'll speak to him. Within half an hour, he called me back and said, can you give him a call? I gave him a call. I've had a couple of meetings with him now. We've been working together, having some really good chats, and he's passed me over a client that he wants me to help him with. And
happy days.
That's just from messaging somebody and seeing what they're doing and actually paying an interest. If you've not got any interest in that person, then don't message them, because if you can't have that relationship with them, there's no point. It's a waste of time.
No, there's got to be common ground, isn't there? There's got to be common ground. There's got to be a niche, and for example, a niche audience. Me, messaging somebody who's doing really well in cybersecurity is going to do absolutely nothing, because I do nothing about cybersecurity. I'll make sure that I comment on financial planning posts. I'll make sure if I put a post out, I hashtag financial planning, because I'm trying to talk to a niche audience. If I message somebody, and that's the beautiful thing about LinkedIn as well. People give you all their information. So you can look at their profile. You can say, oh, Chris, I used to work at, as you can see, I work at Mattioli Woods. I've seen that, you work there, or a connection of yours, 2 connections of yours, that I know. That's like one of the best ones. Hey, Chris, you're connected to Dave, and I'm connected to Dave. How do you know him then? And then bang, you got a conversation going. And there are so many sort of clever little programs that can automate that process as well, and make it very simple. But you're a personable bloke, and I think it's the personal touch that works every single time. So, you might send 200 messages to someone saying, all right, can we connect? Or you could say, hi, Chris, looks at your profile. I can see that you love playing squash. I'm not much of a squash man, but I play tennis. You're only around the corner from me, and you're a tax accountant. I'm a financial advisor. Can I buy you a coffee? Well, something could come off the back of that. That's, it's someone's going to go, oh yeah, I'll reply to that. They're not going to say, oh God, another spammy message. They're going to reply. I like the voice note thing. I know you can do
Yeah,
that, and I've not done it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it this afternoon. Actually, I'm going to do it.
right. But it's a case where I've had messages before, and it's somebody messaged me and they say, right, I can generate you X amount of leads for new clients. But it's like, I don't really want that. And I know that you've just sent that to loads of other people, and it's a really long email. And I just click off it.
It's too
and
obvious, isn't it?
Like, yeah, it's like, well, you could be generating me 200 clients, but are they right for me? Can I work for them? Are they, who are they? I think to be a consultant for a client, you've got to have a relationship with them.
Yeah.
You could pass me 200 people and they probably don't want to deal with me, or vice versa. You've got to have that relationship. So
build that audience.
I think having that personal touch, and to be honest, I do it. So if I go out for a walk at night, probably sounds a bit weird now thinking of it, that I'm probably a bit breathless walking, sending a voice note, but I just say, I hope you're well. I'm just on my daily walk. I thought I'd send you a note just to say it's great to be connected. It'd be good to hear from you, and send that, and you get another one back. How's your walk going? I've been doing this, that, the other, or you could be in bed at night and just send a message to somebody. It doesn't have to be, right, I'm going to dedicate 3 hours. I'm going to message as many people as I can. It's a case of just sitting down. If you've got some spare time. So if I was on my lunch and I sat down scrolling through LinkedIn, oh, he looks a good guy. I like what he's posting. Send him a voice note. Just send him a voice note. It doesn't have to be a thing that's going to take you hours. It can just be a one-off message. The guy I messaged, it was 11:30 at night when I messaged, and he messaged straight back.
Oh, really?
And got a meeting in the next day.
Oh, fair play.
But yeah, it's just a case of, again, breaking things down. And
the one thing I would always say, be careful with LinkedIn is, especially on your mobile phone, is that it can be like quite intrusive, and it can overtake your life a little bit. Because I find I was on a holiday a couple of days last week, and sat out on the balcony. I'm not working, but I'm looking at my phone and I'm looking at my LinkedIn. And as much as I kind of think that's good because I might be making some money, or I might be making some relationships or whatever, is it really beneficial to my mental health? Am I getting some downtime? Am I, should I be reading that, or should I be reading my Stephen King book that I told you about, or spending some time with my daughter, or closing my eyes and getting some rest, and what do you do to look after your mental health and your well-being?
So it is hard. So you have to have breaks. So with me, it will be in the evening. So I'll go out for a walk every night, and I make sure that I do that every night. So 7:00, go out, just go for a walk, put my AirPods in, listen to some music, and just go for a walk, get fresh air. Some nights I might say, right, I won't go for a walk tonight. I'll pop down and see Grandad. And in lockdown, I just sit outside and he'll stand on his front doorstep, and I'll just speak to him. And it just gets you away and gives you a break. And then just like you, sometimes I'll read different articles about different people and what they're doing. Watch a couple of videos of people that have probably done well. So I watched one, Lord John Lee, which is actually really good.
Which one's that?
He was Lord John Lee.
Right.
So one of the connections that I've made, he does podcasts as well, and he had actually interviewed him. And I watched that, and he was the first, he had the first ISA that was over £1 million. So from the start, he'd built it up to over £1 million. That's massive. And it was just about how his advice to the younger generation and to people that are in our sort of position. And it's just watching things like that and thinking, actually, that's really good. There's a couple of things that you mentioned, like he's talking about clients that just buy and sell investments all the time, and was talking about that it's a long-term position. and it's not a game of poker. We're not in a casino here. And I thought that's a really good way of putting it. We're not in a casino. This is your money. This is your wealth. This is a plan. It's a long-term plan. And some of the things like his little sayings was really good. So I find watching videos like that help me sort of zone out and quite enjoy them. So
So
that's
it's a
how
bit
I
of,
kind of,
so it's still kind of, obviously you're quite passionate about your job. You enjoy it, don't you? It's, you know, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And if, you know, in your downtime, if you want to watch some videos or read some articles around your role and how you can improve and make things better, then that's your interest. And that's, you know, that's what you like to do. And you're a family man there with your granddad. I know that because I see your pictures, very sweet.
yeah.
You know, and, you
Even
know,
seeing friends. So yeah,
yeah.
just seeing friends. Obviously, lockdown, it's a little bit difficult, but normally I would go and see friends and yeah, just hang out and yeah.
So what's your first year of being a financial planner been like then?
Well, COVID-19's made it completely different.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever faced anything like this before.
Yeah.
So yeah, a little bit different to what I expected. But you know what? I look at it and I think probably actually not been a bad thing in terms of how the job has adapted, because it means that I've been able to sort of, normally you talk about the 2008 financial crash, but I wasn't part of that. I didn't understand what was going on there. I obviously knew what happened and I know why things went wrong and how difficult it was, but I wasn't advising clients then. So it was really hard if you sit in front of someone to say, well, when there was a financial crash in 2008, and
Yeah.
they're thinking, it's probably in secondary school there or primary school or whatever. But to have something like this and to understand how clients are reacting and just getting put into that environment and trying to work out yourself, not knowing what's going to happen. It's been challenging, but again, it's about having the right people around you. It's about having the right team. And yeah, I think it's been good. I'm enjoying it. Even in the current environment, I'm enjoying it. And I've been able to build closer relationships with the clients I look after because I've been able to speak to them, reassure them, and just be honest. Like, we don't know what's going to happen, but we believe that we're in the right boat in these uncharted waters, and this is why. And keeping in touch with them and ensuring that they're comfortable. And if not, then why not? And put a plan in place for it. So yeah, I've really enjoyed it.
Really enjoying it. Good man. Well, it's a bit of a baptism of fire, isn't it, really? And as you said, you know, I joined my recruitment company, okay, in the financial crisis of 2008. So
Okay.
when I joined it, like everything went kaput, you know.
Yeah.
I was like, and we were recruiting for banks, and all the banks started, you know, and then RDR happened and started kicking out all the advisors. So I went through, you know, credit crunch, all that happened. I totally got it. And actually it did fine tune you. It did make you stronger and more aware of what you were doing and how much time you might well have been wasting.
Yes.
And it's definitely done that. And I think this time round as well, I've looked at things that we were doing and started to remove them without fear. So what I found
Yeah.
is that you can build things up to almost protect yourself or the job you're doing to make yourself worthwhile or whatever. Yeah. And then something like this comes along and you're thinking, well, I've got to save money. I'm going to start to peel it away. And as you start to peel it away, you start to think, well, that was working, but it was costing a lot of money. How can I
Yeah.
do that cheaper? And then you start thinking, well, I don't need to do it that way anymore. I can do it this way. And already we're saving money. We're seeing areas where we're saving money. People are starting to work smarter. We're still making placements. We're still getting people into jobs. We're looking at video stuff. We're looking at the way people can work from home, so that improve home, you know, health and well-being. You know, there's so many positives, I think, that have come off at the back of COVID-19 that obviously don't, you know, I'm not putting to the fact that people have died as well. You know, that's not great. But there are things that are happening that we should be grateful for. You know, I think moving forward, I think it's especially for you in your first year, difficult time, but crikey, you know, can it get any worse? You know, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Kind of
This is
like,
the worst.
yeah,
And yeah, if you can smash this
yeah,
and look after your clients and do a good job,
then you're going to
then
be
there's nothing
laughing,
really
aren't
that
you?
you, yeah.
Yeah, you're going to be laughing. So what does the future hold for you then, Nathan? What does the next couple of years look like for you?
So I just want to carry on working as hard as I can, building trusting relationships, and I would like to become a director at Mattioli Woods. That's not because being a director is I'm up here kind of thing, but it's I love the company I work for, and to be in a position where I could help people and have some, obviously you have an influence as you are because they listen to you, but being in that position is just it's a bit of pride, I guess, to say, right, I've done this and I want to make the best for this company. So that's my next kind of step. Obviously, it's not going to happen straight away. It's going to take a lot of work, but that is my route, just to continue to build myself up.
There's
And
lots going on with Mattioli Wood, though, isn't there? Because they're starting to move into the acquisition market now as well, aren't they?
so we initially started off in Ian Mattioli's garage, so Ian Mattioli and Bob Woods, and yeah, they first started out as pension troubleshooting, so they'd look at a client's position. It's like you mentioned earlier. Um, you probably wasn't advising in the 1980s, but there was a lot of mis-selling back there. Clients been putting into positions where they wasn't probably best for them. There's being charged high levels of commission. And Ian Mattioli and Bob was quite fortunate that they didn't work for a company that did that, but they saw that there's a lot of clients in positions they probably shouldn't be in, and from that they set up as a pension troubleshooting, so they'd review a client's position and charge a fee opposed to commission. Built trust up, and then started branching out. So that's where we developed our own pensions in-house, our own investments in-house, and that's where the fully integrated model comes from. So we've just adapted. But in terms of acquisitions, we have made a number over the years. So it's not something that we've just gone into that we're now starting to do. But it really goes back to where we first started, so helping clients. So some of the companies that we probably acquire, clients need that planning. They've not had advisors. And it's a case of reviewing their position and putting them in a position where they should be. So again, going back to that kind of garage, looking after clients, and so the companies we'll acquire, we'll review their position and ensure them clients are looked after how they should be.
Well, great stuff, Nathan. Obviously, you're an ambitious guy and you've been working hard. And I think your story should hopefully inspire somebody who might well be 20 years old, let's say the position that you were in college, 19, thinking about getting into financial services, predominantly financial advice, and understanding there are companies out there that can offer that direct route into the position of becoming a financial advisor, and that in reality it can take some time, not to turn your nose up at the journey, because the journey is part of it. And things like being a client relationship manager, administrator, scanning some documents, these are things that will teach you about the role from grassroots level up and make you a better planner and understand the business far greater. And I mean, you're moving in, how old are you now? 27 years old?
Yeah.
So 27 years old and fully qualified financial planner. I mean, happy days. That's a great position to be in. You're full of ambition, and I mean, I think that's great. I think it's a great story, Nathan, and I think it shows somebody who's younger that they can become a financial planner. That it's not a boring job. That you can earn good money in it as well. I know we didn't talk about the money side of it. We briefly touched on it, but it's a good earning. It's a great opportunity to earn good money. There are less financial advisors now than ever. There's going to be loads leaving the industry, and there's going to be a massive shortage. So if you're a young person now thinking about becoming a financial advisor, now's the time to get into it, because you'll be writing your own check in the future, won't you?
Well, even with Mattioli Woods, so we now offer the apprentice scheme. So we do have people coming from school now from an apprenticeship. And one of the guys that started about 3 years ago now, coming at 16, and he wanted to get on straight away, really ambitious. And he said, right, I want to do my exams. I want to be a financial advisor. This is what I want to do. And he's sat all of his exams. He's now going for chartered. And I think he's 19 now. He's 19. He's done all of his exams. He's been helping out with power planning, etc. But it just goes to show it doesn't matter whether you're leaving school, whether you're leaving university, whether you've done another job and now you want to get into it. With the right support, it goes a long way. And it doesn't matter what age you are. So yeah, I know guys that are 16 that are fully qualified at the age of 18, 19. So
I think you're absolutely right there. The companies that, and I think testament as well to the company, isn't it, that they've put that energy and effort into it, understand the value of training and developing people, especially around the apprenticeship side of it. And that's only going to do good things, because I think it does create a loyal workforce as well, because, you know, when someone invests in you, I think you want to give back, and it shows the right message. And all anybody really needs is a little bit of motivation, a little bit of guidance. You don't need it given to you. You just need someone behind you giving you a prod and saying, come on, you can do it. You can do it. I believe in you. Go on. And I think that's the bit that, everyone needs that, I think. And please, you found it, Nathan, in Mattioli Woods. So
it's up to me.
Absolutely. Well, listen, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you today. Thank you so much for your time. It's now Friday afternoon, 3:45. I'm sure you're going to send some voice messages now, aren't you, on LinkedIn?
I am, yeah.
I'm not. I'm going to go and sit on my balcony, and I'm going to sit in the sunshine. That's what I'm going to do.
Hey, looking tan.
Look, I know, it's because I was off on a week. I had a week off, didn't I? Yeah, I'm terrible when it comes to getting in the sun. I shouldn't really do it, but I'm just. I told you I was drinking. I got really addicted to green tea. So I was drinking like iced green tea, like amazing iced green tea. The best thing,
I've tried it, yeah.
Mate, the best thing about it, right, is green tea, 3 tea bags, lemon ones as well, the lemon flavored ones.
Yeah.
Steep that for 15 minutes, take the tea bags out, whisk in some palm sugar and a little bit of honey, then fill it with cold water, put it in the freezer, then blend it afterwards. So don't freeze it, but like chill it right down, then blend it. And it froths up, so it looks like a tall kind of. If you have it in a tall glass, poured over ice, it looks like an alcoholic drink. But it's like, and you take, oh my god, squeeze lemon into it. Oh my god, the best thing.
Start selling them off your balcony.
I tell you what, well, I'm a bit high up for that. I'm overlooking the waterfront. No one will get up there, but yeah, absolutely. My wife loves them as well. But I'm going to go back, have one of those, and enjoy my weekend. But thank you so much for your time today, Nathan. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks for yours as well.
Thanks for sharing your journey, and have a lovely weekend, my man.
And you.
Take care.